day. Look out here and see all of these beautiful faces. And we have a boxer dog over here. We have Rick at the piano. We have Aurora. We have Phil. Phil is in the house. Yes. What a great day. Yes.
Great day.
Yes, it is.
And all of you.
Well, before I launch into something else, shall we do our morning song? Our morning, Sunday morning song?
Yeah, let's do it.
Opening ceremony song? You know that one. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can feel the change His face. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Yahoo!
Yes, definitely feeling it this morning. Our Sunday services are being live streamed. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for helping to support our Unity ministry. You may go to PayPal or you may go to unityofbillings.org if you so desire. Or you can show up and bring your dog. That is the cutest dog ever. I'm going to be totally distracted. Today, no, I'm going the wrong direction. I'm not following my arrows. Robin, thank you so much for making this so clear to me. And yet, I still want to veer from the norm. We will not be having services the 30th for Thanksgiving weekend, family and travel. And would y'all like to join me?
I changed it.
Uh-oh. You did change it. Oh my gosh. I was all ready to launch into the whole thing. Thank you, Robin. So we have busy bags in the back, in the basket, for any children that are with us or anyone that wants to doodle and see what's in the bag. Please return them at the end of service. Our meditation room is available from 9:30 a.m. Sundays. Excuse me. Our meditation room is available at 9:30 a.m. on Sundays. Monday and Tuesday evenings from 7 to 8 p.m. And stay tuned for yoga news.
Oh,
yes. Tony is in the house today, so we're going to get some great news about starting up our yoga class. Our speakers for November today, Reverend Phil Zemke, the Christ, yay, in the house, yes. The Christ in you, our hope and glory. November 16th will be Reverend Jim Reindaller, and the 23rd will be Reverend Edie Michael. Yes, it's all good, it's all good. And now if you'll take a moment, deep cleansing breath, and center yourself for our Unity song with David Friedman.
Every prayer is answered, every prayer is heard, every thought and feeling, every spoken word, what your soul has longed for, what your heart can feel, is already here, is already real. There is no there is no one else. You hold all the answers deep inside yourself. There's a voice that whispers, there's no you, no me. There's just one, there's just unity. One power, one presence, one light to lead the way. All loving, all knowing, that answers when you pray. When the world looks darkest and your eyes can't see, gather all your troubles, give them all to me. I am always with you, I will always be. I am one, I am unity. We are one, we are unity.
Thank you, David. I will light the Christ candle. I'm going to move it a little bit here. The Christ candle is a symbol of the indwelling Christ within all of us, 24/7, and in our service today. So I want to take a minute to give a quick shout out to Marcia Reichert and her amazing festival that she had yesterday, the Step Into Your Magic festivals that she has twice a year. I came in, there were vendors everywhere. The house was full. It was amazing, upstairs and downstairs. Rick and Jane were here. It was amazing. It was so great. There was so much to see and do. It was a really, really good event. And Marcia raised money for us, which we are very, very grateful. Thank you, Marcia.
Linda, could I add something to the announcement?
Absolutely. Let me give you the microphone. Yes.
Just that we were blessed to keep our booth open downstairs from yesterday, so we have our photography down there with all of our beautiful things on it. And I just did a little 5-minute reflexology for Debbie over there. And anyway, it was a wonderful day. And come on down and look at the beauty out there.
And the reflexology
Thank
was
you.
amazing.
It is.
Yes. If you've never had a reflexology treatment from this woman, it is powerful. Very, very nice. And Sierra is here with us. Yay! Sierra and Kane, welcome, welcome. So nice to see you 2 days in a row. I had a Reiki treatment with Sierra last night, a 20-minute Reiki treatment, or however long it was. I went to a special place. It was awesome. It was very, very good. We have a lot of really skilled people in our midst. The daily word today, if you'll join me in affirming glory. I am blessed to be part of the glory of God. I am a spiritual being, a glorious expression of God. As I live more fully into my divine nature, I better recognize my unity with life. Looking around me, I see the beautiful diversity of humanity. I also appreciate the vast variety of creatures on earth. whether of earth, sky, or water. The creatures are glorious components of the universe. I give thanks for each one. I turn my attention inward. The glory of God within me is an inner kingdom where beautiful and loving thoughts live. Kindness, warm memories, inspired motivation, and peace. As I bring my attention to the realm of my consciousness, I create within me a world of majesty, splendor, and wonder that I also find in the world around me. As I do, I discover the glory of God everywhere. The heavens are telling the glory of God, and the firmament proclaims his handiwork. Psalms 19:1. Again, will you affirm with me? Glory. I am blessed to be part of the glory of God. Each one of us, all the creatures. There's a creature over there that I just can't wait to get my hands on. There's something about boxers. They are just fun.
Very cute.
Very cute. Very, very fun. One of the glories of God, right there, all of us. Would you join me in affirming our Unity Foundation principle? There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And our Unity of Billings affirmation. Through divine wisdom and grace, Unity of Billings is vibrant, healing, and inclusive. Now, if you'll take a moment and gather your prayers, your offerings, your tithes, hold them in your hands and infuse them with your loving energy and your light. And join me in praying. Divine love, flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And now we're going to have a beautiful song. Love this song.
Morning has broken on page 6. You can please join in, stand, sit, whatever is comfortable for you. He's going to play through it once, and then we'll sing all 3 verses, and we're going to do the 3rd verse twice. Verse again. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, morn of the night. A new day for us every day.
Thank you so much, Rick and Jane. I love that song. That's so beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful song. I'd like to take just a moment and pass these out to you. These are prayers of protection that I made for everyone. And the back is, I thought, okay, contact paper, this would be real easy. I could do this in 5 minutes. Well, yeah.
What an optimist.
Exactly. So they didn't stick, so I glued them. If they start to fall apart, glue them again. But I felt like that there was a situation that happened not too long ago that one of our congregants had expressed feeling concern and fear about a lot of things that are happening in the world. And I was inspired to put these together for all of us.
Thank you, Bob.
You're so welcome.
And then I'll just pass these, if you don't mind passing these out. Thank you. So that we can carry them with us. We can keep them and remember what our goal is, to bring in the light and live in the light. And so now, thank you all for your gifts, of your physical presence, of your tithes, of your prayers, as we take all of that energy, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and infuse it with our love and the light.
Right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more.
5 more? Okay, I'll get 5 more.
You can share ours.
Thank you. And so it is. Thank you. All right, Reverend Phil.
Yo!
Yay! So happy you're here. Thank you for driving up to be with us.
Well, my pleasure. My goodness.
I turn this off for you, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn on, we'll turn on.
Absolutely wonderful.
Da-da-da-da. Come on, give me a green light. Yeah, all right. Dynamite.
Wow.
Dynamite. I was just sitting here looking at this. Namaste. The divine in me greets the divine in you. Divine in me greets the divine in you. Boy, you know, when you sit up front and you close your eyes, you don't see all the folks that start showing up. And then you get up here and it's like, whoa, look at this. Isn't this grand? This is grand, my friends. It's glorious. The Christ in you, our hope and glory. Glorious. It's glorious. Drive from Bozeman to Billings. Drive in the dark and then watch the dawn. And as you go over Bozeman Pass, suddenly everything is just wildly red and pink and purple and gorgeous. And then you come down and you're driving along and pretty soon you're playing with your what are those things called? Yeah, because it's like, no, it's over there. No, it's over here. It depends on which way the road goes. And so, but you know, here I am. I got here. It's gorgeous. It's joyous. It's glorious. I'm in Billings, Montana, and I'm blessed. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't miss coming to see you guys. You guys are just too cool. You bring boxers. My dad was a dog breeder. And the first breed that we had for years and years were boxers. And then he went to Dalmatians. And then finally his wife, my second mother, convinced him Chinese crusteds. Now, Chinese crusteds are a really strange part of the world. I mean, they are strange. They have no hair on them, and they're kind of oily, and they have a funny smell to them. But, you know, they're also sweet. And so why not? But boxers were very dear to my young life. And we had one that stayed with us for a dozen years named Duchess. And Duchess was really marvelous. If she got ticked off at us for leaving her, she would go get the garbage can and bring it to the front door and tip it over. She didn't take it and run it all around the house. She would just leave it right at the door, tipped over, so it wasn't hard to clean up, but to let us know she was not pleased with us. You know, there's a wisdom to every glorious part of the universe. There is a wisdom. Charles Fillmore, 84 years old. Charles had a goofy affair with death. He was not comfortable with the idea that death was around. It was one of the great mysteries of life that he messed with, and it messed with him for years and years and years and years. And after he was fully healed, he started his healing work. He had, you know, a bum leg. He'd fallen and injured his hip, and his leg stopped growing. He was 10 years old, ended up being four inches shorter one leg than the other, and it was all waxy and, you know. Well, he started when Myrtle got healed. He was in his 30s. He was 9 years younger than she was. She was 42 and he was 33. But he started his healing work. And I used to think that Charles didn't really get a hold of healing until he was in his 50s, but that's not true. If you read his books, good for you. If you really want to know what Charles thought, read in the archives his articles in the magazine. They started printing Modern Thought magazine in 1889 when Myrtle was healed, and they founded Unity. And it was in the magazines because when Charles wrote a book, he was a run-on sentence guy. Being a run-on sentence guy, I can really appreciate Charles. He was also a wanderer. He would get a subject, and pretty soon he's pulling from 90 different places. I used to have a guide in Bozeman, Clyde, and when I would give a talk, Clyde would sit in his chair. He has a special chair. And when it would hit a certain point, I could hear him over there saying, "Bring it on home, Philip, bring it on home." Because I had gone on a mysterious journey in life, and I needed to tie it up. Bring it on home. Well, Charles is like that. If you read his books, I was told when I first went into Unity training, I had a beautiful woman, Laura Bear Bennett, and her dad had been the biblical scholar in Unity for years. And she said to us, the very first class, she said, you know, if you read Charles Fillmore, know that you're reading the writings of a salesman. And he's going to sell you Unity. And the first thing he's going to do is tell you why you need some Unity. Why? So he's out there promoting the fact and bringing your attention to the fact that there's more to what you need to know than what you know you need to know. Okay? So, and then Charles will start, and he starts teasing you. You know how a salesperson teases you about, you really do want this vacuum cleaner, and before I throw some dirt on the floor and demonstrate it, I'm going to tell you why this vacuum cleaner is really what you want. Well, Charles would start his books that way. And sometimes Charles had a hard time bringing it on home. But in his articles, they were very concise. He had a page per article. And when he picked up a subject, he had to get you there in one page. So his articles, his biographer, Neil, I'm going to miss his name right now. But anyway, this guy was very clear about that. When you read Charles's book, you're going on a worldwide journey. If you read his articles, he's going to keep you home. He's going to keep you on point. And so I've become an archive reader of Charles because I want Charles at his best. You know, I can read his books and they're great, but I want those tight little nuggets, those articles. So anyway, so Charles, when he finally was what he considered fully healed, no more braces, no more lifts, no more anything, his leg had gone, his leg had woken up and regenerated itself, and it was now the same size as his other leg, and it was all gorgeous and everything. And the last picture we see of him is a little Kodak 8 film that they filmed down by the pool at Unity Village, and he's 94 years old, and he jumps up in the air and clicks his heels. Okay, I would assume that Charles was healed. I mean, that seems to be self-evident. Charles was healed. But he thought, now that I'm healed, in his late 80s and early 90s, he was saying, now that I'm healed, why don't I just stay around forever? Why don't I keep this body and just keep it going? I've learned how to regenerate it, so why don't I keep it going? But when he was 94, he said, I guess I've had enough in this body. I'll go ahead and recycle and get a new one. So he decided to pass away, and there's a farm next to Unity Village that was bought for Charles and Myrtle in the early days, and Myrtle didn't live too long past then, but Charles did, of course, but there was a garage, and he didn't want to die in the house. There was a bedroom above the garage. Why he did this, I have no idea. But he decided he was going to spend the ending of his days in the garage. And it's poignant. I don't know why, but, you know, I mean, maybe it's because his body's his vehicle and the garage has got vehicles in it, you know. But anyway, he was upstairs above the vehicles, and he was getting ready to leave his vehicle in the garage. And so there's a lovely lady named Dorothy Pearson who's recently passed, and she was his nurse. She was a teenager, or young 20s. She was a nurse. I got to spend quite a bit of time with Dorothy and heard all of her personal stories about being with Charles as he was finishing. And she told me the last thing that he said, you, the Christ in you, is our hope and glory. That's from the Bible. The Christ in you is our hope and glory. So let's start from there. First of all, welcome to the platform. Our guest expression of the glorious divine. Yes, you are. Glory is a wonderful expression, isn't it? And I like to take it into the active. It's glorious. It's not just a glory out there, it's a glorious feeling I have for being alive, for being in this wonderful world. The Christ in you is that which delights in the gloriousness of creation. In the stories, especially the stories that come to us from our Gnostic Christians, the first century, you know, if any of you have read the Gospel of Thomas or the Gospel of Philip or the Gospel of Mary, You know that there were 4 Gospels that made it into the Bible. There were over 30 that didn't. Okay? And those Gospels are all about practicing the Christ within. One of the authors of those said something very poignant, which I cared for in myself for a long time, which is, he said, I am not a Christian. I am to be the Christ. Whoa, well, step me up. call me up to it. I'm going to have my Jesus moment. I have to be the Christ. Oh my gosh. There've been books written called The Imitation of the Christ. Yeah. And that's the deal, isn't it? You want to be the Christ. You don't just want to talk about the Christ. You don't just want to say, I have an opinion about the Christ, or I believe in the Christ. I want to be the Christ. Now, the term Christ came around 50 AD or so. It was in Antioch where Paul had been teaching. Paul didn't talk about Jesus much. He talked about the Christ a lot. He talked about resurrection a lot. He talked about regeneration a lot. And what his practice was, it was a 3-tiered practice. You ultimately became, at the 3rd level, anointed. And anointed meant you have become a friend of the divine. You're anointed. And anointing was called chrism in the Greek, to be anointed, chrism. And so the Antioch folks started being called by the other folks that weren't in their group, but were watching them and witnessing them. They said, these folks anoint themselves as wise ones. Wise ones. They anoint each other when they've reached a certain level of spiritual maturity where they become the indwelling Christ. The anointed ones. Prior to that, they were called Christos, Chrestos or US, Christos, which was a description of who they were. Christos from the Greek. What it says is, you are kind, you are forgiving, you are a benefit to others, and you are beautiful to be around. You are kind, you are forgiving, you are beneficial to others, and you are beatific to be around. You are glorious. You are glorious. To be the Christ is to be glorious. To be the Christ is to love your world, warts and all. To be the Christ, to be Christos, to play with that word, Christos. To be Christos, to be the Christ, you get to reach out. The Essenes and the Nazarenes were called therapeutes, which meant those who heal by their presence. You're glorious. Have you ever walked in a room and realized that the room's atmosphere changed because you were now in it? That dog does. Has our puppy friend of the divine, our divine presence, glorious presence? Have we all been changed in the way we're feeling? Feeling? Not thinking, feeling. Because our friend is here with us. Of course. Thank you. Thank you. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were the presents. There's no doubt about it. Over on Tracy Street in the early years, there was the publishing house on the bottom, and then there was an auditorium, lovely auditorium on the second floor. On the third floor was Silent Unity, where the people received the correspondence and sent out the message, the good presents. And the top floor was the healing floor. Today in Silent Unity, there's offices on the bottom floor, and the second floor is where the people, what do they call, the associates, the prayer ministers are doing the work. And then there's a tower at the top where the light is always on for you. You know, that's a saying in Unity. It's true. And the 50 prayer people, they rotate during the day, half an hour a person. And they go in and they just sit in the deep divine. They are the glory. They are the Christ in themselves being the glory. And they hold all of that prayer work. They hold it for you. If you called Silent Unity, you know that they register your prayer, and it's held for 30 days, and it's prayed in that tower. It's held there. You are held there. And know that you are always being prayed for there. Whether you've put in a prayer request or not, the world, the cosmos, the divine is held in prayer in that room. They've been doing this for over 130 years, friends, and it'll go on forever and ever and ever. Because that's who we are. The Christ, gloriously being present in the world. That's who we are. Be that. That's from the Upanishads. Thou art that. Whatever you see and wherever you go and whatever you experience in the world, you are that. Charles Fillmore, in the very first issue of Modern Thought magazine, archive, the very first one, he talked about where he was influenced. He talked about Madame Blavatsky. He suggested 14 different titles from Theosophy. He talked about our wonderful mystical people, Hildegard, Meister Eckhart, and Swedenborg. He talked about Emerson. He talked about the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita from India. He talked about the Kabbalah, the Jewish mystical text. He talked about them all, and he said his teacher, Emma Curtis Hopkins, had put him on a vast feast that during his years of studying with her before he was ordained by her and Myrtle and Charles were ordained, that because of his mental acuity, his desire to know, his needing to be a wise one, a knower, a Gnostic, that's what Gnostic means if you ever run into that word, that she said, here, saturate yourself with all this world wisdom. Some of the stuff's 5,000 years old, Mr. Charles, Mr. Fillmore. Saturate yourself with it. So he did. So that's what he said in the very first issue, 1889. He said, I have just eaten a banquet at the library of world wisdom that's come down to us over 5,000 years. In the second issue, he said, we are now founding the Unity Educational Movement, and these are the main influences. These are the 4 primary influences that we are going to work from in founding Unity and the practice, the school of unity. He called it a school right from the beginning, never stopped calling it a school. Didn't like churches, or he didn't like the term church. He realized that there was institutional limits when you identified yourself as a church. He much rather do schools. So what he said was, Emerson, who he had studied as a young person, starting age 12, all the work from Emma Curtis Hopkins, which we now have available to us because her work has come out of copyright limitations, and her original university in Chicago is now a correspondence school. So you can I have all of Emma's work. A gentleman named Warren Felts Evans, I was reading him this morning after I got here. He's stunning. I've never read his work before. And he's stunning. Brilliant. And Charles said, Myrtle and I are going to start doing a mental healing treatment practice. And you can do it either in person or in distance. He never described it. Myrtle vaguely described it once or twice in her healing letters. She kind of wandered into that. But what Charles said was, if you want to know how we are going to address divine mind and use it as a therapeuta, a healing person, a Christos, this is where you're going to find it. It's in Warren Felt Evans's. Warren Felt Evans was healed by Quinby, the father of metaphysical healing, mind treatments. Personally, he was healed, as was Mary Baker Eddy. Warren Evans is stunning. I am having such a good time with him. Emerson, Mary Baker, or Emma Curtis Hopkins, and Warren Evans, today when I was reading him, all said the Hermetic Mystery School, this mystery school of the Hermetic practice is paramount if you're going to read Swedenborg, if you're going to read Baum, if you're going to read Meister Eckhart. All of these people owe to that. Charles Fillmore, in the second issue of Modern Thought magazine, said, unity is Hermetic Christianity. It is a way to unseal the mysteries of the world and bring it out into the light to be shared, and it will initiate you to become the Christ. That's what unity's about, friends. Hermetics. Okay, we all know what hermetics means, right? It's the bag where I put my beans and then suck the oxygen out and seal it and stick it in the freezer, right? It's now hermetically sealed. Okay. Now, you've done that, right? You put the beans in the bag, you sucked out the oxygen, you sealed it, and you put it in the freezer. It's now hidden. I don't know about you, but when I close my freezer door, I don't see the stuff anymore. It's sort of away, hidden. But when I get hungry, when I want to know something, I get hungry. When I get hungry, I open that door, and in that darkness, the light pours in. I take out that bag, I unseal it. I take out the beans. I cook them as a meal and feed them to others. Hermetics means the mystery of divine mind. Believe you me, divine mind is so vast, none of us is ever going to know even an inkling of what divine mind knows. Give it a try, though. Divine mind is a mystery. But through practice, you can become initiated. You can become wise about that mystery. And what will you do when you become wise about that mystery? You will put it in a system of teaching and share it with others. You will bring out of the darkness of your freezer the beans which you then open and put out in the light of your table and share them with those you called to dinner with you. That's unity. That is why unity is an educational spiritual movement. We are going into the mystery. If you read Charles Fillmore and Myrtle, you know they're very open, acquainted with, inviting, willing to go into the mystery of the mind. Hermeneutics is also called hermeneutics, which means the art of inquiry and interpretation. Charles Fillmore said, the divine is your best friend who knows everything about everything, and if you're smart and wise, you will ask your best friend who knows everything about everything. That's why we do affirmations. That's why we converse with the divine. Paul said, pray unceasingly. Charles Fillmore said, when you're talking with your divine, it's your best friend, be informal. I mean, if your best friend comes over to your house, you don't say, hallowed be thy name. You know, you say, hey, bud, come on, sit down, have some beans. The divine is your best friend, and the divine wants you to be talking to it all the time. You see, there's something in the mystery. The divine mind is a mystery, vast and unknowable, but it includes everything. It's the one. And everything that we experience, the cosmos, our thinking and feeling and experiencing, our sensory activity, that's the all in the one. Now, the Hermetics talk about the principles of life. There are 7 of them. We're going to teach them here. Because Marcia had her brilliant workshop, I was ready to have her fair. I was ready to start a workshop yesterday on Hermetics, and obviously I'm not ready because I didn't get to do it. Okay, I accept that. I accept that. I will be teaching at a conference for our Northwest region in January, where I have been asked to be the primary teacher of the Hermetic principles as utilized by Charles Fillmore in his 12-power work. Okay, so it's begun. There's a group of retired ministers who have been exciting me to tell the story of Hermetics, and it's being videoed as well as transcribed, and they are going directly to the archives. It is my job. I know that I have been a Hermetic person all my life, and I've studied in other schools before I got to Unity, Hermetic schools. I was raised by the Moravians and Freemasons, who are all Hermetics in that tradition. So I get to write to Unity as a gift offering for the wealth of experience I've had in Unity, a nice little primer about why Charles Fillmore called Unity Hermetic Christianity. Because when I have talked to my minister friends and I say, have you ever read Warren? Have you read Emma Curtis? Have you read Emerson? Most of them have read Emerson. Few of them have read Emma. No one so far that I've met has read Warren. And when I say, do you know what Hermetics are? I get a blank stare. So does unity need, unity's practicing it, but sometimes in the Buddhist tradition, they say, if you're going to really engage sincerely in a Buddhist practice, you must know the lineage and heritage of where it came from. So my gift of unity will be a little tome on the lineage and tradition of why Charles Fillmore said this is Hermetic Christianity. Seems like a decent thing to do, don't you think so? In the Hermetic tradition, it's unsealing a secret that's in unity. There's a secret in unity, which is, where did this come from? Charles and Myrtle didn't hatch it like an egg that hadn't been laid by the chicken of ancient traditions. The chicken is there. It's in India with the rishis. It's in Egypt with Hermes, the triskate. It's in Zoroastrianism out of Persia. It's in the Greeks, Pythagoras and Plato. It's in the Kabbalah of the mystical Jewish tradition. And it's in the Gnostic tradition of all those unprinted Gospels. And what it is it's about the practice of going into your inner identity, having your conversation with the divine, getting the answer, interpreting it, and putting it in action, sharing it with others. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. And, you know, my Native American friends, they are Hermetic like nobody's belief. They're magnificently Hermetic. I go to my Celtic Christian friends because they're absolutely glorifying nature and the divine in nature, what's called the animation of the world by living spirit. We practice that in unity. Traditional indigenous people practice that all the time. If you were to go into one of the mystery schools that predated Christianity, whether it's the Dionysius mystery schools, the Ephesian ones, the ones to Athena, that's the Ephesian one, you know, all of these mystery schools, what were they there for? To take people who sincerely wanted to know how to live in friendship with the divine, how to go through the process of learning, how to go through the process of experiencing, and then how to be initiated or anointed so that you became a wise one who was a friend of the divine. Don't you want to do that? Don't you rather? Friends, we get so saturated by opinions. And in this time of individuation, we're asked that our egos be always right. What's this an old saying? You know, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? You know, I want to be right with the divine. And what to be right with the divine is to be willing to know it is a mystery, and so are you. You are not your ego identity. Now, you have an ego because it keeps you safe, well and good. But you are not your identity. You are divine mystery in the divine mystery. And if you want to know about how to live in the divine mystery, ask the divine mystery to show you how to live in the divine mystery, as the divine mystery, as the Christ. Whatever you want to call it. Different cultures call it different things, but they're all ready to say there, you want your true self, your divine identity to be that which you are living. Your real self. Now, are we doing it here? Yes, we are. Can we even refine it more as we teach it? Yes, we can. It's going to happen to you anyway, because the whole world's in spiritual transformation all the time. It's called the magic of the mystery. The world, Charles Fillmore said, change is the master law of the universe, the cosmos, this part of it. When you get to the full divine mind of the universe, we don't know if it changes or not. We don't know that. We do know that from the cosmos, we're recycling to that mind all of our experiences. The divine recycles us. Okay? If you agree with the universe that you're not going to know everything about anything, please note that. You're not going to know everything about anything. Now you have opened yourself up to be surprised, transformed, grown by the universe that is within you. It's you. You are the universe. If any of you've seen the Hubble telescope images or the new one, galaxies far, far away, where do you see them? You see them in your mind. Your mind's eye sees them. You're part of them because they're part of your reality. If you look in a microscope and you look at all those little squiggly thingies, promethea and the amoebas and all that stuff, they're now in you. They're part of your reality. You are the universe. You can think as vast as you can think. It's in you. You are a divine agent of the universe, witnessing the mystery unfolding. That's who you are. Best that we not get too wrapped up in our opinions, but instead just realize we are the awareness of the divine, witnessing the divine, being divine. Mysteriously, wondrously, gloriously. So it is so. Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will we be able to see this class or